Thank you all for joining us for our 2022 Service Showcase and Celebration. We are really excited to share this time with you to lift up some of the great work that students, staff, faculty, along with partners have been doing to advance community and civic engagement at KU. I'm Jamela Watson-Thompson, and I have the great pleasure of serving as the director with the Center for Service Learning. And we are the unit that helps to coordinate this celebration. Our annual Service Showcase and Celebration recognizes a year of community engaged work at KU with community partners and across our campuses. And it's a great way as we think about concluding our academic year to really celebrate, recognize, acknowledge, and showcase the hard work and dedication of our students, staff, faculty, and our community partners. So with that, I just want to provide a brief overview of what we will do in our time together. And as we progress, I'll provide a year in review along with some of our colleagues, and we have a great way to do that with some of the videos we've been highlighting this week through our KU Serves Week. Additionally, Vice Provost Susan Klusmeyer, as well as Assistant Vice Provost David Gaston, and some of my colleagues at the Center for Service Learning will help to provide recognition and awards for many of those that we will feature on today who have been doing some marvelous work in the area of community and civic engagement. And then from there, we would like to provide the opportunity to do some breakouts and allow some of our student presenters to showcase some of their work that they have worked on as well. Lastly, we'll come back together and reflect, and from there conclude and think about how we can continue to advance this work as we proceed into our next academic year for those of us that are on academic year cycles. So with that, some tips to really help us to ensure that we're engaged together. Although we are virtual, we really try to make this pretty interactive. And so one thing to note that you've already probably seen in the chat is that there are automatic captions that you can turn on by using the CC button at the bottom of the Zoom. Additionally, please change your name to what your preferred name is, as well as preferred pronouns. We also, if you can engage in celebrating with us, feel free to change your Zoom background to something that might be celebratory, and use reactions throughout the event to give each other feedback and support and praise as we recognize an award. Lastly, we encourage you to use the chat to engage in conversation and to connect. Although we're in a virtual setting, we try to make it proximal to if we were together in a shared space. Lastly, the Center for Service Learning is active on social media, and whether it's through this event or even later, please consider using hashtag KU Serves and hashtag KU Serves Stories to lift up and promote the great work that's occurring, as well as your thoughts and considerations. And finally, as we recognize the awardees, we are having kudo boards for each awardee. You can see the link there, and we'll also be putting it in the chat. We strongly hope that you will participate in providing kudos to those who we are recognizing on today, and we will also provide those to them after today as well. So with that, we are going to transition into a little Center for Service Learning trivia. If you were with us last year, one of the questions you may be familiar with, so you might have a little bit of a competitive edge. But there are two questions, and my colleagues will be looking at whoever puts the correct response in the chat first, and that person or those persons will receive a wonderful Center for Service Learning pullover or mug. And so with that, our first question, what year was the Center for Service Learning founded? And our second question is, who was the first full-time director of the Center for Service Learning? Go ahead and cast your votes.
So Lori's got one of them. Lori's got the second one, Andy Whitsack. So thanks, Lori Johns.
And Lori, I thought that was the harder one. So Steve Fawcett would have been a good guess, Mary Beth.
The date was a close guess.
And so we'll let you continue to put in there. No one has the date yet. So we'll let you, Valerie. So we'll let you, we now have the year as well as our first service learning director. So thank you all for participating in our CSL trivia. So we will continue to advance. We know that it's important as we think about doing this work of community and civic engagement to also recognize some core principles that undergird all of our work. With that, first of all, we want to just briefly share our statement related to community engagement and social justice. So as a Center for Service Learning and more broadly with other units at KU, we are committed to participation in creating a diverse, just, and global society and working collaboratively to assure conditions that support equity, particularly for communities and groups who have a history and increased likelihood of marginalization. And we try to lift that up in our work. Additionally, it's important for us as we think about the land and the space that we occupy to also take a moment to recognize our land acknowledgement. And with that, at the University of Kansas, we acknowledge that our institution occupies land that has long been cared for by Indigenous people and work to reflect on the history of genocide and the forced removal of people and communities. The full statement is accessible at the link below from our Center for Service Learning website. So, with that, as we consider the communities in which we engage and some of the principles that are important to undergirding all our work, we also want to think about some of those who support this work with us as collaborators. First of all, I have to thank the Center for Service Learning staff and team who have worked diligently for this virtual event, but year-round with ensuring that through our Center for Service Learning, we are supporting our mission to think about how to support coordination, communication, and collaboration as it relates to community and civic engagement with our partners, as well as with students, faculty, and staff. And so our team includes Dr. Emily Roundtree, our Associate Director, Kate Kemper, our Assistant Director, and our wonderful graduate assistants, Will Cheney, Lena Garces Davila, and Valerie Thompson. Additionally, there are several initiatives that we have been able to advance, particularly at our KU Lawrence campus, with the collaboration and coordination of our Center for Service Learning associates. And so we want to take this time to recognize our associates who contribute year-round to advancing some key initiatives, including our Engage KU Big Ideas and Story Mapping Initiative, our Summit on Community Engaged Learning and Scholarship, participating in our Engaged Scholars program with Campus Compact, and other initiatives throughout the year. And so thank you, Katie Batza, Sarah Goodwin-Field, Susan Harvey, Meg Jemison, Nicole Reese, and Emily Ryan. There are also many of you on this call who have participated, and we encourage to participate in our Community Engagement Consortium at KU, which goes across our multiple campuses. Nearly 30 units and divisions on our KU Lawrence campus, and also representatives from our KU Edwards and Medical Center campuses really have been trying to work hard over the past few years to enhance community engagement, coordination, and communication. On this year, we're also considering how we can integrate and align with the institutional plan Jayhawks Rising. And so we thank all the units and representatives and multiple campuses who have also collaborated diligently on this year to advance community engagement and civic engagement at KU. There's also another core group of colleagues through our Center for Service Learning Ambassador program who really think about how to be champions and promote service learning and civic engagement, particularly through our teaching and training and our outreach and civic involvement activities. And there are approximately 30 units that serve and participate in our ambassador programs through representatives. And so I will not go through all the units, but we thank you and appreciate your contributions and championing this shared work. And we definitely have to consider the student organizations that we have the great pleasure in the Center for Service Learning to work with in an advisory role. And those 5 student organizations include Heal KU, which focuses on sustainable relationships and ethical service. Alternative Breaks, which coordinates immersion experiences for student volunteers during breaks like spring break, winter break, summer breaks. Additionally, the Center for Community Outreach has 13 issue-based programs that provide opportunities across a range of issues and activities for students in conjunction with community partners. Lead Up works with minoritized and underrepresented youth in grades 8 through 12 to be college ready and enhance social networks. And then additionally, we have our Student United Way Affinity Group, which works with the United Way Douglas County on a range of partnerships and projects. Although I could go on this year, our office has been innovative and thinking through ways that we can share and reflect on this past year. And so with that, I'm going to give it to my colleague, Emily Roundtree, to take us further in video presentation from colleagues in our office.
On behalf of the Center for Service Learning at the University of Kansas and all of our staff and students and other associates, I'd like to welcome you to our Spring KU Serves Week. The goal of this week is to lift up the community organizations, students, faculty, researchers, staff, and so many others that have engaged in collaborative work this year. Throughout this week, we will be sharing spotlights, reflections, and other content across all of our social media channels to highlight and celebrate the projects that have been undertaken this year, the partnerships that have been developed, and so much more. Specifically, we will be recognizing our annual Excellence in Service Learning Award recipients, each of the student organizations we advise, and we'll be reflecting on the initiatives we've engaged in throughout the year. We invite you to participate in KU Serves Week by engaging with our content on social media throughout the week. We hope that you will also contribute by sharing your own stories on social media. You can tag us in posts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and make sure to also use the hashtags KU Serves Stories and KU Serves.
You can also engage with us this week by participating in our annual service celebration, which will be held virtually on April 21st at 3:30 p.m. This event will recognize our annual award and mini grant recipients, members of our extended collaborative team, and student service showcase presenters.
This week is also the KU Center for Community Outreach's Into the Streets Week. Into the Streets Week is KU's largest advocacy-based service event of the year. The program's goal is to provide students with service opportunities and encourage their participation with the underlying issues facing our local and global communities. This year, the advocacy theme is sustainability. Learn more about Into the Streets Week events and activities by connecting with the KU Center for Community Outreach on social media.
This week is also National Volunteer Week. Established in 1974, National Volunteer Week is an opportunity to recognize the impact of volunteer service and the power of volunteers to tackle society's greatest challenges, to build stronger communities, and to be a force that transforms the world. To the dedicated volunteers in our community and beyond, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful KU Serves Week and rock chalk.
Something from this year that I enjoyed and am excited to share is the mashup for the Center for Service Learning and the KU Center for Community Health and Development. Together, we created the Community Engagement Toolbox. It's at servicelearning.ctb.ku.edu. This toolbox serves as a guide to support our collaborative work using our strategic action framework for community engagement. So in other words, how to take social action as individuals, in teams, or as an organization. The mashup leads you on a journey through the framework and social change wheel. We created the toolbox to be useful for students, faculty, staff, and community members.
So one of the things that I am most proud of and excited about is the work that we're able to do with our civic engagement ambassadors. So over the last year or so, as a group, we've put together a pretty comprehensive list of change levers that we think are going to be a really great way to start galvanizing some support around creating a more civically engaged culture here at KU. So we've drawn on our NSOL reports and things that are going on at other Big 12 campuses through our Big 12 Votes Challenge and through the All-in-Campus Democracy Challenge and feedback that we get year after year on our action plans that we do for them, as well as the experiences and the expertise of folks that are a part of our ambassador group. We've put together a list of change levers that fall into 5 sort of categories. So some of those include, communications and outreach. How are we letting students know and letting other members of our community know about how to get engaged in civic action, whether that's, writing testimony to legislators, whether that's getting out and voting, whether that's other aspects of civic life that students or other members of our community can get involved in. So I'm really excited to be able to take all of that feedback and all of that planning and really be able to put some of it into action starting in the fall semester, with this summer as kind of the time where we really get to put some of those things together and fine-tune some resources and activities and programs that hopefully we'll be able to roll out as we get closer to the midterm election in November.
This year, I've had the opportunity to provide individual and group consultations to students at the University of Kansas. In these consultations, students fill out a form giving us information about what they're interested in regarding their service and academic life. And then we match those interests with community opportunities, service learning opportunities, and academic opportunities to partner with our Center for Service Learning, faculty and staff across the university, as well as with our community partners. These consultations have been inspiring and have shown us and shown myself that our students are eager to learn more about service learning and are eager to get engaged and to serve others ethically and with academic rigor and excellence.
You know, honestly, working with the CCO has been one of the most transformative experiences I've had during undergrad. And it's been really great getting to work alongside our program coordinators, our community partners, our exec staff, and most importantly, our volunteers. This year, the CCO did some incredible work working to address COVID-19 on campus. And it was a really cool experience getting to work alongside the local health department to make tests more accessible to the KU community as a whole. Next year, though, I'm really excited to see the ways in which the CCO continues to grow and continue to make service an accessible and tangible thing for students to get to know the Lawrence community.
All right, so that was just a little bit of a snapshot from our student organizations. We had the great opportunity to advise and some of our colleagues about some of the work we're excited about, which is just a snapshot of collaborative work. However, in that regard, if you are interested in more, please do check out KU Serves, and we have other demonstrations. We want to make sure that we have time for our recognition and awards. And so with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Susan Klusmeyer, who is the Vice Provost for Academic Success at the University of Kansas, who will support some award recognition, as well as Associate Vice Provost David Gaston, also in academic success. So Susan.
Thank you, Jamela. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our annual service showcase and celebration coordinated by our friends in the Center for Service Learning, which is a unit within academic success. KU is committed to advancing community engagement, service, and civic engagement, which is core to our mission to lift students and society by educating leaders, building healthy communities, and making discoveries that change the world. We advance this mission every day across our campuses through collaboration with our community partners. And over the past few years, our KU Lawrence campus has been involved in our institutional planning process to advance our Jayhawks Rising plan. Jayhawks Rising has 3 institutional priority areas: student success, healthy and vibrant communities, and research and discovery. Integral to each of these 3 areas is community engagement in teaching and learning, scholarship, and through our service and outreach. Today, we're going to showcase and celebrate some of the contributions of our faculty, staff, students, and partners as we rise within our partners in the communities. I have the great pleasure of beginning our 2020 award ceremony. We are recognizing individuals and groups who have exemplary leadership in service learning and community and civic engagement. So I will go ahead and begin with recognizing our Newman Civic Fellows through Campus Compact for the 2020-2023 academic year. The Newman Civic Fellows Fellowship recognizes and supports community-committed students who are change makers at Campus Compact member institutions. Fellow nominations are supported by the Chancellor based on their potential for public leadership. This year, our KU Newman Civic Fellow is Abir Iqbal, a junior studying behavioral neuroscience. During her time at KU, Abir has served as Phi Delta Epsilon Service Chair, Sigma Kappa Service Chair, member of the Family Relations Committee for KU Dance Marathon. She has volunteered with KU Lead Up, the Jayhawk Health Initiatives, and is currently interning with the KU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. Congratulations to Abir as she begins her Newman Civic Fellowship experience to further develop effective strategies for social change. Next, I'd like to recognize the Excellence in Service Learning Award. Kathleen Dahl-Knuckles is an active and engaged champion of service learning and committed collaborator with the Center for Service Learning. She's an active participant in the Center's Service Learning Ambassadors Group. She takes advantage of opportunities related to service learning, including participating in the International Association for Research and Service Learning, and also the Community Engagement Consortium conferences this year. She instructs service learning designated courses in the Environmental Studies program and promotes the certificate in service learning with her students. Through her courses, she integrates hands-on community engaged experiences for her students, including working with the community gardens to do soil sampling at current and proposed garden sites. We are pleased to award Kathleen with the Excellence in Service Learning Award. Next, I'm pleased to present the Community Partner Excellence in Campus Collaboration Award to Young Women on the Move. Young Women on the Move is a youth-serving organization in Kansas City, Kansas. They teach skills necessary to lead a healthy lifestyle through decision-making and problem-solving, physical and mental health, communication skills, and academic support, particularly focused on young ladies. For multiple years now, Young Women on the Move has collaborated with the Department of Applied Behavioral Sciences, Journalism, and the School of Social Welfare to partner as a service learning host site supporting multiple students and community engaged projects. Projects students have assisted with include curriculum development in subjects such as healthy eating, exercise and art, youth program facilitation in the schools, and the development of a volunteer management system. Feedback from students placed with the organization is overwhelmingly positive. Here are some recent comments from students. I hope I had as much impact on this organization as they have had on me. Or another student commented, Young Women on the Move provided an opportunity for me to be a leader and a positive role model. Congratulations to Young Women on the Move and their director, Mary Beth, who is with us today. Next up, I am going to hand off the presentations to David Gaston.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me say thank you for everyone joining us today. It really represents the commitment that we have to community engagement and service learning. It represents our time together today and all of the work and effort accomplished by our University of Kansas community of students, faculty, staff, and community partners. And it allows us to celebrate all the amazing work that's being done across our community. I have the pleasure and honor of presenting 2 additional awards for commitment to service and civic engagement this afternoon. The first one is the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. In 2003, the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation founded the President's Volunteer Service Award to recognize the important role of volunteers in America's strength and national identity. This award honors individuals whose services positively impacts communities. This year, KU senior Ria Patel has earned the Bronze Presidential Volunteer Service Award for completing 100 hours of service in a year. Ria currently serves as the co-president of HEAL KU. She has also volunteered with numerous local efforts. Ria has also completed the certificate in service learning this year. Please share your congratulations with Ria. Next, I would like to note all the students that will be receiving their certificate in service learning. The certificate in service learning recognizes experiences in utilizing classroom skills to meet community identified needs. Earning the certificate involves taking classes, engaging in service work, and reflecting on your service learning experiences. This earned certificate is acknowledged on the official academic transcript at KU. We'd like to take a moment and recognize the student certificate recipients. some of whom are joining us today. Their work affects so many aspects of our community, and we'd like to thank you for contributing, improving our communities, and reflecting on how your skills and knowledge have become a critical part of your experience at KU. I'd also like to add that without our community partners, none of this would be possible. So thank you for making this possible with our community partners and for the great work that our students have put in.
Great, thanks, David. So now we are excited to announce and present our annual awards for staff and student excellence. So our award recipient for staff excellence and community engagement is Mercedes Bantapanya. Mercedes serves as the project manager of associate deans in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. She is actively engaged on campus and championing this and supporting DEIB initiatives. Mercedes provides her service-based experience and ongoing collaborations with community organizations such as the Black Economic Union of Kansas City, the Lawrence Sexual Trauma and Abuse Care Center, House of McCoy, a trans and queer youth center, the Lawrence Queer Trans Youth Alliance, Food Not Bombs, among others. Mercedes' involvement both on and off campus is critical for providing a welcoming community at KU and more broadly. Join me in congratulating Mercedes, please. Next, I'd like to present the Graduate Student Excellence in Community Engaged Research and Learning, Alyssa Francis. Alyssa is a graduate student who finds not only personal satisfaction in being an engaged community member, but brings KU students along with her. As a part of this, she has taken an active role in partnership with CSL to involve students in civic engagement education by partnering with the CSL for a variety of programming initiatives and the Civic Engagement Ambassador Program. In her position as GA in the Student Involvement and Leadership Center in SILC, she also works with students to find ways for them to take part in the service learning opportunities on campus. She has a profound impact on the undergraduate students she has worked with this year and really has made KU a better community for it. Alyssa's work is always of impeccable quality and really showing that she takes her role as an educator seriously and by default serving as a leadership role model to the students with whom she interacts. Please join me in congratulating Alyssa. And now I'll hand it over to Kate.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. I am really excited to present 2 awards for student excellence in service learning. First is Corey Brungart, who was nominated by the staff at Ballard Center, where she's been doing some really incredible work this year with all of their programming and really partnering with her Pi-Phi organization to run volunteer events as part of Ballard. When Corey first showed up, and this is directly from her nominator, she was briefed on the childhood trauma that's really prevalent at Ballard, and she did not shy away. She took it head on. Hearing some really awful stories of childhood abuse set her drive into even further motion, providing kiddos, and most of them severely below the poverty line, with fundamental relationships with caring sorority women, as well as spearheading some kindergarten readiness tutoring. When a problem was addressed with the tutoring, she immediately pulled certain people and replaced them with people she knew that the kiddos could count on, so being really responsive. And she's a community advocate of the children at Ballard, and it's really showed through the community drives she's conducted for Ballard with necessary things like books and social emotional learning tools. So congratulations to Corey, and please congratulate Corey using our Kudo board. Our second Student Excellence in Service Learning Award recipient is my buddy, Yasmin Edris. As the Communications Director for the CCO this year, Center for Community Outreach, Yasmin has provided support to a group of around 40 student leaders in promoting in-person and virtual service opportunities, including an e-newsletter and various social media platforms. As the co-president of Heal KU, Yasmin has helped facilitate a COVID-19 vaccine drive in partnership with Watkins Health Services and the Kansas Leadership Center. brought Representative Christina Haswood to the organization's general body meeting to talk about Indigenous public health issues, and supported the facilitation of a fundraiser on behalf of the Lawrence Community Shelter. So thank you so much, Yasmin, for all the work you do with Heal KU, CCO, and the million other things that you have going on. So thank you all so much to all of these award recipients, and please take a moment to offer your congratulations in the chat or using a Kudo board. And next, I am going to share a little bit about our service showcase, which is a program that we kind of have taken out of this program to have an opportunity for undergraduate, graduate students to share some insights into their own experiences with service learning. And I don't know what's going on in my apartment complex, but if you hear banging, I am so sorry. So we had 6 really, really great presentations this year, and you'll get an opportunity to hear from some of them soon. So I want to recognize all of the showcase participants who you can see listed on the screen. And I also want to thank the judges, those that actually helped judge each of these presentations and help us give some really great evaluation and feedback to those students that participated. And now I'm really excited to announce the winners. We want to go to the next slide here. So Rachel and Izzy, congratulations so much on your work and your receipt of the top scores for this year's service showcase.
I think we've had a wonderful sampling of some of the service learning and community engaged work that our students support and champion, and quite frankly, that is extending to career opportunities and to professional development and a lifelong commitment just to service in general. So thank you all for your presentations, as well as to those of you all for being an engaging audience, which I know is very appreciated by the students as well as our team. With that, we appreciate all of your time that you have shared with us on today, and we will continue to lift up and do this wonderful work in partnership with our communities and our campus collaboration to ensure that we are supporting meaningful change and positive impact to improving communities across a range of outcomes and areas. And so with that, that does conclude our 2022 Service Showcase and Celebration. However, it does not conclude our commitment to continuing to make sure that we are engaging and partnering with our communities to ensure that we are integrating and addressing issues, problems, and goals that matter through our resources. So thank you. Have a wonderful day. If you're in Lawrence, the rain has stopped. The sun is shining. If you're in Kansas City, the rain is probably coming. But we appreciate your time on today, and have a wonderful day. Don't forget to go to our Kudo board and continuing to lift up the work of our colleagues. Thank you, and rock shop.